Good morning. You're seeing my Vera Bradley purse rather than a plain white wall. I was like, I don't have anything to put in front of here. Hey. I was trying not to open on just a plain white wall, so I was like, well, my Vera Bradley purse is here. It's a nice pattern. Good morning. Good morning. Such a weird angle. I'm standing. I thought if I stood, I might be able to get away with reading longer. Hello! Before I get caught by the children. They're busy at the moment, so we'll see how far we can get. I feel like I'm really like super close. Super close. So, lots of trolls still showing up in my... Okay. Lots of trolls still showing up on our followers list. I see some really random stuff these days. So now what they've started doing is using fake names. Good morning, Linda. And putting the intent of their joining you in their description. So you still have to be careful. Thank you. Already got noticed. My name's Michelle Wolf. I'm at CaddyshackDesigns.com. Across the top, yeah. So if you have, now you have to open the names of your followers because then the junk, the porn stuff's in the description. It's really gross. Across the top of my website, you can find tabs for everything that I do. Good morning! Michelle and Beth and Nina, and I missed Sarah, and I missed a bunch of names. A bunch of names hopped on there that make me wonder. Hello, Beth. Today is our Tao Te Ching study day. We'll start with this one, go to this one, and then we'll read the corresponding chapter in the Byron Katie book. I really love this book a lot. I just really love how she takes this stuff and tells you how to use it when you're breaking down your stories and rewriting your stories. You're fine. You're fine. Today's verse is, or chapter is chapter 18 or verse. And I had to read it a couple of times. It's small enough that I'll let you screenshot it if you want. Second best. And when I first read it, I didn't get it at all. So I read forward a couple of chapters and then got the sense of what they were talking about. On the surface, it sounds like, what you talking about, Lao Tzu? It just doesn't make any sense. So, second best, in the degradation of the great way, come benevolence and righteousness. With the exaltation of learning and prudence comes immense hypocrisy. The disordered family is full of dutiful children and parents. The disordered society is full of loyal patriots. And at the first glance, it challenges the thought process we have that we need rules and we need complex structures. And if we don't have those structures, then we won't have dutiful children and parents, and we won't have loyal patriots. It's backwards thinking. We think that by having our complex systems, hi Cynthia, and our abundance of rules and contradictory rules for this and that somehow that supports patriotism and that supports dedication. Good morning. And that's not true. So what they're saying is disordered meaning, oh my gosh, I'm about to lose my whole setup here. Disordered meaning that the more you give people freedom to choose their own way, if their needs are taken care of and they're provided for and they're healthy, then they just naturally choose to be dutiful. They naturally choose to be patriots, loyal, which is true because people steal and become hypocritical and do horrible things out of fear. So when we're choosing fear and we think we can't get our needs met is when we act the worst. So following the way is internal locus of control. Internally choosing to do the right thing because it's the right thing. And imposed moral order and imposed prescriptions of behavior generally don't work, which is why we have crime and why we have deviance. So on the surface that doesn't look right, but when you deeply understand, it makes perfect sense. So exalting learning creates hypocrisy, and exalting imposing lots of rules actually creates disobedience. And teaching people to choose for themselves, giving people all the information, and teaching ethical people don't need rules. Unethical people don't follow rules, right? Good morning, Linda. That's where you can get into problems with people saying that guns don't kill people, people kill people. Well, okay, like it's way more complex than that. She's very busy behind me and really quiet. I got suspicious. One's entranced with Sesame Street. So let's read how Stephen Mitchell writes that. When the Tao is forgotten, goodness and piety appear. When the body's intelligence declines, cleverness and knowledge step forth. When there is no peace in the family, filial piety begins. And when the country falls into chaos, patriotism is born. Times like those toss all the rules up and the social expectations up into the air. That's sort of what it feels like we're going through right now. And I know that people older than I am who remember the Japanese internment camp stuff are saying it was like that then. It was probably like that in the 60s when social order was just tossed upside down. It definitely feels like on Thursdays I listened to NPR on the way down to Atlanta, and it definitely they were interviewing a lot of people today, people who support Donald Trump and his whatever his agenda is. And I was like, oh my gosh, they really do like him. They really do like what he says. They openly say they're fearful, and they believe someone like Trump can take care of them by shutting the borders. Hate, yes. Hate and more money in his own pockets is his agenda. And I've been so confused, like, what is it about his message that they like? Well, it's the same thing that people liked about Hitler's message. They were scared. Their economy was in the shitter, and yeah, it is. But when you look at fear and not wanting to take responsibility for yourself and wanting a mommy or a daddy figure to come take care of you, he is that. You talk to people who were in Germany, it's like in Austria, they tell you, and there's plenty of books that say things didn't go bad overnight. I'm shocked. Yes, exactly. This morning I was like, we're really that scared as a collective? We're really so afraid that we would willingly hand over our lives to... Right, they think he's honest and will fix what they're afraid of. They think, and they interviewed several people who openly said that they were frightened. Yeah, I bet. They were frightened of the world, and they believe that he's honest instead of being just an asshole, and they think he'll take care of them. It's the same message Hitler had. That's how Hitler was handed countries. Countries handed themselves to Hitler because they were in bad shape. Their economy sucked. They didn't have enough jobs. People were scared. And here comes a strong patriarchal figure, and they're like, yay, Daddy's here. Take care of us, Dad. And that's what he's feeding to. So he has a masterful platform, if you think about it, because he stirs up fear and then says, I'll fix it for you if you vote for me. You're expecting to burst out laughing. Yeah. So let's make people scared and then offer them the solution. Perfect setup. Perfect setup. I don't like any of them. Actually, I don't like any of them. Yeah, he fear mongers and then offers a solution, offers a safety net. So if you think about it, he is really smart. But that's how you run a business, right? People miss God so much they believe anyone who says this is God, this is not. Yes. People are scared because they're disconnected from their source. Yeah. A spiritual vacuum is the two guys who founded Alcoholics Anonymous and wrote what they call the Big Book say explicitly in there that you need to have a spiritual connection, regardless of what you want to call it, if it's nature or God or whatever, the wind, whatever you want to call it, you have to have a spiritual connection because that hole in our hearts can't be filled any other way. And Course in Miracles tells us all the time that if we don't have that spiritual connection, we get lost in fear and then we're stuck there. So I suppose we'll just stay, responsible for our own spheres of influence and see what happens because we can't know. Sometimes things have to get pretty loud. Right. So then they feel like there's nothing. Churches crumble because people are not finding source there and they get scared. Yeah. And scared people do crazy things. Like listen to blowhards and lunatics. So we'll see what happens. Sometimes broken systems have to fall. And sometimes trying to save a broken system. Yeah. The babies were entertaining themselves, so I thought, great timing. But I'm only up this early because I had to get up at 4. My choice. So there's no need for us to panic also, I guess, is what I mean. Because somebody's got to stay sane, right? The broken leg metaphor. People's legs are breaking all around us, so we need to make very sure that our legs are strong and sturdy and centered, and so that we can help as things go wronger. And typically things get worse before they get better. And sometimes systems have to completely fall apart so they can be put back together in a healthier way. So just focus on keeping your own self centered so that you're there when the people who are afraid. No need to panic. We're all source. You're not without God at all. At all. So there has to be some sane voices in the world. Allah, whatever. I thought that was kind of funny, actually. We can anchor love while people lose their minds in fear. Yeah. That's certainly what I'm going to focus on. Is radiating as much stability in my own area as I can. So that people who are seeking stability and health and connection to source will find me and find us, find our little group, and remember. I really would like to help people remember the truth and awaken because they've fallen deeply asleep. We are surrounded by sleeping beauties. And they don't need a prince to wake them up either. Okay. So what she says, Byron Katie, says about chapter 18 is, the reason I love rules and plans in religions is that people feel safe in them for a while. Good. And personally, I don't have any rules. I don't need them. There's a sense of order that goes on all the time as things move and change. I am that harmony, and so are you. I want to be more harmonious as things become less harmonious around me. I am much more motivated and much more... I've already been devoted to these processes, but my devotion is amped up after listening to NPR. So rather than amp up on the fear, I'm going to amp up my own spiritual stability and harmony. Not knowing is the only way to understand. That's how I discover where I'm to go next, my direction as life is lived. Why would I resist the spontaneously beautiful by trying to impose an artificial order onto it? Meanings, rules, the whole world of right and wrong are secondary at best. At best. I understand how some people think they need to live by rules. Without them, they think there's no control. If there were no rules, everybody might turn out to be a murderer. We are surrounded by sleeping beauties. They're asleep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The worst thing we can do is be... I'm initially scandalized by what people say. And then I don't stay stuck there, though. Like, they're asleep. How can they be any other way than what they are? So we have to offer that Course in Miracles forgiveness stuff. We have to... Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can get stuck as an empath. You can get swept up in the fear. So it's even more critical. I forgot to turn off the do not disturb thing. Or on. Sorry. The notifications are coming in. It's really critical to stay connected to your own source. Really critical to stay awake. To stay awake. When everyone around you is sleeping, somebody's going to be awake. So that's the best thing I can do. So I've been searching for... You guys know I keep bringing this subject up because I've been searching for an answer of like, what do I need to do? What action, what thoughts, what approach do I need to take to all this chaos that is my attention's being brought to it daily. So what would you have me do, Source? What would love have me do in response? Is there a response I'm supposed to take? And what is it? And this morning I was like, holy fucking shit. Those people love him. They love him. They are so scared they love him. Yes. So again, why do I keep seeing this? Why is it so up in my face? And what do I need to do? Yes. And what I need to do is stay awake. And I stay awake by doing this stuff all day. So if I'm awake, somebody near me has a chance to wake back up. Or I can be standing next to a sleeping person and I have the opportunity to fall asleep. Yeah, we can lift each other up or we can drag each other down. But you have to be conscious to make that decision. When you're with negative people, you can be drawn into their negativity, or you can hold your center and they can come with you in your positivity, or they can go somewhere else. But to give people an opportunity to wake up, you have to be awake first. You've got to be centered and connected first so that they can gravitate to you and wake up again if they want to. You give people the opportunity. By taking care of yourself, you take care of everybody else, I guess. Yeah, what would love have me do? What do? I took my stand on Facebook. I settled out my mental position. And then I was like, now what? What do I do next? Hold your center, especially if you're an empath or an intuitive or you're very sensitive to other people's. And you pick up the energy of the country. Yeah, ask the question and then listen. Even if you have to ask that question several times a day for days. Absolutely. Refuse to be dragged into the negativity. Refuse to be dragged into the fear-mongering. You can see right through it. So you're aware of it, you acknowledge its existence, and you work even harder on staying connected to love. That's the only way to survive it. Otherwise, you're swept down the river of fear too. That's not what I want for myself. It's certainly not what I want for any of you guys. Or any of my family. I don't want them swept away in that fear. Fortunately, the big girls are too tired from raising the little girls. No, we can't hate it either. You have to center. Stay centered. Just like in martial arts. When someone's attacking you, when you're practicing karate or tai chi or anything, the most important thing you learn first is to take care of your own center. You have to be centered and you have to learn to move as things are coming at you, to dodge and use the people's use the attacker's energy to either deflect it or turn it back. You've got to be centered first, though. The oxygen mask thing. You got to put your own oxygen mask on, and now's the time. Have to be centered in love. When you hear the fear and the rhetoric and you start to feel your energy sink, turn it off and go find something to read. Jump on Periscope and find someone positive. Take a walk. Remind yourself that for every bad thing happening, there's 50 or more good things happening, but that's not what gets reported on. So what we hear about in the news is very small. And we get to choose. We have a choice of where we put our attention. So I kind of see it as diving in and then stepping out. Diving in and stepping out. In and out. I listen a couple times a week. I check Facebook once a day. And see how it goes. And then go back to focusing on my center. My preparation. Choose love or fear. You're welcome. Yeah, love or fear all day long. The more you choose love for yourself, the more you help other people choose love. Yeah. Yep. Soar above. Okay, so to my eyes, rigidly pious people are doing the best they can. Okay, they're asleep. You can't hate them for it. They can't help it. They're terrified. When you're terrified, you do crazy things. You listen to crazy concepts and you latch on to any port in the storm. You'll take anything when you're scared. So when you hear stuff and you're like, what an ignorant thing to think. Well, it's coming out of fear. So just like you wouldn't hate on a scared little kid, you can't hate on a scared 60-year-old. They're just scared. It's very frightening for them to watch the world unfolding in apparent chaos and not realize that the chaos itself, we've all been there. We've all go in and out of it all day. In and out. It's very frightening for them to watch the world unfolding in apparent chaos and not realize that the chaos itself is God and His infinite intelligence. They think that the world, the mind, needs to be encased in structure as if that were safe. We think that rules make us safe, and they don't. They make us crazy. And I love that structure works for them if it does. I used to spend a lot of time in the desert. I would just walk with no destination. I would walk straight, even if the path turned right or left, because I understood there was no way to be lost. I often didn't know where I was or how to get back to familiar ground, but I was living with the certainty that wherever I was, that's where I was supposed to be at that moment. This is not a theory, it's the literal truth. If I think I'm supposed to be doing anything but what I'm doing now, I'm insane. One day while I was walking in the desert with some friends, we came upon a Mojave green rattlesnake, which was very rare where we were. When I used to live in Kingman, Arizona, Mojave green rattlesnakes were everywhere, and they are scary. They're huge, and they're more poisonous, so everyone was always like, watch out for the Mojave greens! And I never saw a single one. I saw pictures of other people's, and I mountain biked then. I never saw a single rattlesnake. But by all reports, they were on every square inch of ground. He was coiled in front and to the right of us, big, fat, and gorgeous, and they are gorgeous. All he said was, look, I am. I remember pointing to him and telling my friends, let's walk around this one. They reacted with terror because they were stuck in a story and they missed the beauty. The snake wisely got away from us as quickly as he could. He could have been the sand, the desert holly, the hidden waters. The earth is like a mother, quiet, unmoving, unrelenting in her honesty and kindness. To be in the desert alone is to understand the absoluteness of solitude, the positive nature of emptiness. During the day, no sound. Mile after mile of sameness. Imagination has no context for the vastness of the desert when you're in it alone. And at night, in the moonless world, amid the smells and the silence, you lie down and you have no idea what you're lying on. Is it a snake? A cactus? So you lie in wait, look up at the stars, and receive the ground, the coolness of the sand, giving up the idea that mind could grasp the lumps under your shoulder or your leg. And then the thought of time. Is it midnight? Is it 5 days later? 5 years later? And what am I who wonder what I am? What am I who wonder what I am? And the smile that comes from knowing that you can't know and you don't really care. Hi, Jana. That the answer to that would shrivel in the delight of this moment. We ruin it. When we try to answer the unanswerable, when we try to label and categorize and describe with words those precious moments, we lose them. The minute we start to try and describe it, it's gone. Nothing of life imagined can compete with the beauty of nothingness, the vastness of it, the unfathomable darkness. This amazing desert earth has been my greatest teacher. She doesn't budge from what she is. You can go tell the desert to change and have water in it and to not have so many snakes sink you, and it won't happen. The desert is the desert. I sit on her and there's no movement, no discussion, no complaint. The earth just gives without condition, unnoticed, and that's the proof of love. She doesn't ever withhold. She doesn't compromise. We don't withhold our love from the ignorant. So when someone... What is that about? What is that? That's not even a real cry. Let's see. What can you play with? Here. You want to play with this little book? Here you go. Here. Our tendency is to run across people who are aggravating and withhold our love from them. Because they're aggravating. But the people who are hardest to extend love to are the ones who need it the most. You hear that about children all the time. But it's applicable to adults as well. Donald Trump is a very challenging person to extend love to. But he's also a gift, if you want to use it that way, to challenge yourself to love the unlovable. I'm telling you, the man makes me want to spit on the ground right in front of him. He really does. But he's a perfect opportunity, and I'm going to take that opportunity because he's so freaking aggravating. Yeah. So I think, like, if I can master that, I should be able to love anybody. If I can figure out a way to extend love to, Donald Trump, then I've got it. So you can look at his crap that way. Wow, what a great opportunity for me to practice seeing the divine in every single living being. Kind of want to choke on a hairball on that, but it is true. Perfect opportunity right there in front of us. His children. That's good. That's a good starting point. Maybe we can love his children. Here's what I'm grateful to Mr. Trump for. He is pointing out... I don't want to love him. I don't want to. But you see what I'm saying. So I'm glad that he's such a jerk. You gotta start somewhere. So he's such an ass and he's so visible. I'm grateful that he is exposing what's been hidden in our country in a very loud way. I really didn't know how frightened people are. I really didn't know. He's exposing that. He's so smart. Yeah, you might have been in the shower then when we were talking about that. He stirs up fear and then offers to sell you the solution. That's like mean kids who poke animals and then stick a Band-Aid on them. He's not afraid. No, he's the smartest thing ever. His birth chart says he won't be elected. I don't think he'll be elected either. I really don't. But he's stirring up a lot of shit. And we could be grateful for that. We could be grateful to know the depth of the fear level in our country. Because I didn't know. Now that I do know, it inspires me to make sure that I'm not adding to it. And it inspires me to make sure that I am consciously sending out love all the time. Always making it interesting, all right. Of course. Yes. Michelle, that's the most important thing to remember. Is that just like this, The chaos is God's infinite intelligence at work. He's a brilliant salesman. He's brilliant. He finds your weakness, exploits it, and then sells you the solution. Yes, he's turning on the light so we see what's really there. You've learned his tactics. Yeah. Okay. So use him as inspiration. Use him as knowledge for one thing, and then inspiration to keep doing your own work. Like if ever there was a time to keep doing your own work, now is it. Right, Marketing 101. Serve pretzels so the people get thirsty. These pretzels are making me thirsty. And then you sell more beer. Duh. Like you said, Sarah, it's Marketing 101. Serve the people fear and then offer them a safety net for a fee. No, I've never seen it. Charmed. I remember seeing it advertised, but I never watched it. That maybe I should go look it up. Is it on Netflix? Okay, so where was I? Blah, blah, blah. The earth just gives without condition, unnoticed, and that's the proof of love. Oh, she doesn't ever withhold. So when you encounter the ignorant and the craziness, well, I'm glad. Apparently, you don't need those kinds of sales tactics, fantastics, because as soon as you finish a mala, it's gone. Yes, they do, but we don't have to be victim of it. We don't have to be their victims. She doesn't ever withhold. She doesn't compromise. They're trumps. Don't withhold your love when you hear that fearful stuff, because it's our inclination to recoil from it. Don't recoil. Go toward it. Offer more love instead. The way she speaks is through the wind, the rain, the sand, rocks, the sounds of her creatures. She just sings her song without meaning, and she continues to give without any expectation of return. She'll support you all your life, and if you throw a tin can onto her, or drop poison into her bloodstream, or drop a bomb on her, there is still total unconditional love. She keeps giving and giving. She's me awake. She's you. Unconditional love understands that there is no end. You can offer unconditional love when you've taken apart all your stories and you understand that you can't run out, and that the holding or the bestowing of love on any individual person is not how you get your way. You can't control people by saying, well, I'll love you if you do this, and I'm not going to love you if you do that. So that's how I'm going to control you. That never works. That's not unconditional love at all. Apocalypse starter packs. Genius. We should all do that. Zombie apocalypse protection malas. If you wear the zombie apocalypse protection mala, then the zombies won't bite you. So we need a Trump repellent mala. If you wear this mala, available to you for only $99.95. If you order now, you'll get a second one for $49.95. And if you wear it, you will be protected against Donald Trump. Or then you can mark it to the other side and say, if you wear this mala, then you'll be protected against the axis of evil, or whatever. The Syrian refugees who are coming over here to eat all your food. Yes. You can make anti-everything. You can make a zombie repellent, a Syrian repellent, a Muslim repellent. Hey, in the box it'll be books busting. Yes. Trickery. Divine trickery. Hillary Clinton. Yeah. Divine trickery. You can order a Muslim repellent mala, and as a bonus, you get all these cool books. And then when you read them, our evil plan becomes really clear, because you wake up and you realize you were lost and crazy. Order now. Supplies are limited. With love, of course. Brilliant. See, all that marketing class had to be good for something. Right. Oh, and you know what's sad is you could sell a lot of them. A Muslim repellent mala, you could sell. You could sell tons of them. Yeah, and the other side, the Hillary. Ha ha, tricked you. It's a box of infinite love. Our diabolical plan was to really wake you up. I love that. I love that. That is absolutely brilliant. We woke you up. We're going to hell. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So perfect. Look at what you're doing with love in your life. If you're measuring out and doling it out to some people and not others. I hear a fussing. Let me check. What's up, babies? What are you doing down there? What are you doing in that closet? You're not supposed to be in there, I'm pretty sure. Oh well, I guess I'll clean up the mess later. They managed to get the door open to Morgan's shoe closet. So they're busily taking all her shoes out of her closet. I can pick that up later. It keeps them happy. Go away, baby. Go away, baby. What are you doing, baby? So, that's all I got. That's all I got today. Use this man as inspiration to keep on your work. Oh, definitely. Definitely. I'm not a shoe lover. I'd wear my Chacos year round if I could, and actually here I pretty much can. But my Morgan is a prissy girl. All things prissy. And somebody's got a poopy diaper. So, all right, I'm going to run. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. Thanks for using Trump as your inspiration to practice loving the unlovable. Oh, yeah. I wanted one that wanted to go hiking and camping and stuff. And she was like, what? I'll break a nail. Ew. There's bugs. Ew. I'll sweat. Gross. She wanted nothing to do with it. You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a wonderful day. Ew, dirty. Ew. You're welcome. My, what an interesting face you have today, Jesus/Trump with the bad hair. I really do use that saying a lot, actually. My, what an interesting face you are presenting today to me, Jesus. All right, see you later. Much love. Yep. I'm off for diaper duty. I know. I would have her, too. She can come here and we can hike. I can't get this thing to turn off. Oh, okay. Bye.